So this is our thrash presentation.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about our first location. So we were assigned to go to 2 different temples in Wansha area. There we learned about chimsticks that were used to tell fortunes. Also learned about how people went daily to worship deities and that would come every day, such as Wansha. Go back. In the second temple, there was like a large rock, and it was like a pretty interesting design choice, as like it was already pretty small and it took up more space. And both temples had areas where people gave offerings to the gods, like fruits and other gifts. In the second temple, they also had like an area where they burned like paper or things as the offerings. And both temples were like Buddhist and Taoist, so it was pretty interesting. So we chose to like meet at like the M-tier station here and walk here together. This is our path for like what we intend to do. So we had to like draw like floor maps of both temples, so I learned like how basic they were and like how they were able to like complete their like purpose like variable space. However, like we had like several issues that caused us to start like such as John arriving several minutes late. However, Nathan, who actually lived close to the temple, somehow ended up in Aberdeen, so it like
Do not ask. It's a long story. I will not be getting into it.
Even though we had many difficulties in our first meeting, we learned a lot about like Chinese traditions and lives.
Okay, so our second location was the Hong Kong Heritage Museum, which is in New Territories. And from Wan Chai, where the temple is located, we had to take 4 different MTR trains, which is 4 different lines. The green line, the red line, the blue line, and the New Territory line. And in the museum, we went to 2 different exhibits. One was a Chinese village life, and the other was a just Chinese traditional era exhibit. And in the village life museum, I learned about more about the kitchen side of things, like I learned about how they used wok, which is 10 times less expensive than a clad, which can be found in Western areas. And they would use the wok because it's very cheap, and you can make it from things in your backyard. Not only steel, you can make it from stones and rocks and soil that you find in your backyard. And in the village, in the traditional Chinese era exhibit, I learned about different types of stamps and how the different types of stamps and the engravings on the stamps would locate what type of letter it was from the government. It could be related to military warfare, just pleasantries like gifts and stuff, or even about kitchen supplies, stuff like that. Yeah. And so this is where we started the Paktai Temple, and so we got onto this MTR, and then from there we tried to get up to the Hong Kong Heritage Museum, but we made a mistake because Joey thought that we were supposed to get off here, which is 1 stop too early. So then we were walking around for about half an hour until we realized that we had to go 1 more in order to get to the Heritage Museum.
Oh yeah, and then it was hard to get to the actual museum itself because it was like the directions on our sheet were very misleading. So we actually met up with another group and figured it out together.
So this is what the Life in a Village exhibit, the entrance, traditional era Chinese. And outside the art exhibit there was a sculpture by a guy named Ralph Cohan, and it was kind of a sculpture that was mixed and like kind of contorted, so it didn't look correct, and that was his view about how communist and traditional viewpoints, how they meshed together, and it didn't really go well together.
So for our final destination, we went to the sculpture garden and the mosque in Kowloon Park. we had to take 4 MTRs to get back to Kowloon, and as you can see, we got right here at Kowloon, I think. We got lost at one point, ended up walking in circles, and arrived late, as we did with all of our. We saw some interesting sculptures in the garden. We didn't have much time to examine them though. So, and on our way out, we studied the mosque very briefly, but didn't have a chance to study it further due to time constraints. And we took the Star Ferry back to Hong Kong Island, and then we split up as soon as we docked.
As soon as we took the picture. Okay, so we learned a lot about Hong Kong through this trip. Not only did we learn that although the MTR system is very straightforward and goes lots of places, it's very easy to get messed up and go the wrong way. We learned that together, and we will remember it together. We also, because 2 out of 3 of our stations involved a place of worship, we learned about Hong Kong's majority of culture and how it's so developed, and it's not just like a lot of the time we see only one way of culture because we live in we go to HKS and it's like a Christian Lutheran school, so we don't get to see, unless we know people from like different religions and different cultures, we don't get to see that so often. So it was very interesting for us to go to these different places of worship, and it also showed us that Hong Kong has always been a hub for culture because because people have always wanted to go there to get supplies. So we like learned why it's so cultured now because of what we know from the past and what we know from this class.
Okay, so transportation fees. So for all of us combined, from all the transportation we took, we all each of us spent $50, but that also includes mistakes. We kind of had to go re-enter some MTR stations because we got off too early, and then, yeah, stuff like that. And we were on the MTR for around 2 to 3 hours.
The majority of our
We only
drive
took
was-
the MTR though.
Yeah.
Like MTR and Star Ferry, that's all.
You didn't walk?
No. No.
Wait, we have one more slide.
And then, so for the conclusion, so going to HKIS, we kind of overlook a lot of the simplicities and things in Hong Kong that are not as developed as this part of Hong Kong and a lot of our one-track lifestyles. And in Hong Kong, there's many things and many religious perspectives that we may have overlooked in the past, but because of THRASH, it kind of opened up a lot of our perspectives, and we were able to develop a better understanding of Hong Kong as a whole, and that it wasn't just because tourists view Hong Kong as a destination for a lot of wealth. In fact, over 90% of Hong Kong is rural, and a lot of people don't seem to realize that. And so we had a lot of frustrations along the way, which include when our meeting point at the Hopewell Center, where Nathan was at in the beginning. I was a little bit late coming out, and then I texted the group chat saying I'm leaving the Aberdeen Tunnel. And I think Nathan got confused, and he got in a cab going to the Aberdeen Tunnel.
I tried to take a cab to the Pak Tai Temple, but then, yeah, long story, I won't be getting into that.
And
We can't work as a team.
We have a little more weaknesses than the others.
I feel like they're just only blaming.
So lastly, after this experience, it seemed that it's kind of like we're in a bubble here, and although we venture around Hong Kong a lot, we don't really take a deeper look into a lot of what Hong Kong has to offer, and how a lot of historical and a lot of meaning and education you can find in Hong Kong. And yeah, it changed my perspective and my group's perspective completely after the thrash presentation.
Thank you guys.
And anyway,